Hello. Thank you for being here. Welcome back. I did not think that I would be filming one of these. Um, I've also been so very bad at doing like pregnancy updates in general. So I want to apologize for that. I had full intentions of doing like weekly updates the whole way through my pregnancy, but this pregnancy has been very busy. I'm gonna zoom you out a little bit so you can see just how pregnant we are. I am coming up on my 41 weeks of pregnancy. Like I said, I'm really quite surprised that I'm even still pregnant. I have been feeling really well, like physically, but have really been having contractions every single night for about 2 weeks. As a little like preface for those of you who maybe don't know my like background or story, both of my boys were born before their due dates or like in and around their due dates. So Archer was 38 weeks and then Atticus, my first, which is typically your like longest gestation, was born just past his due date. So hence why I've been feeling a little bit more like what's the right word? Surprised, a little bit more like fizzy. I'm like, come on. I stopped work like 2 weeks ago in full expectation that I would have a baby in my arms by now. And yet here we are. It is the ultimate lesson in like trusting your body and just surrendering. And it's funny because only 2 days ago I was talking on Instagram about like that how really your due date is just a guess date and it's a guess month and it means so little, and how beneficial it actually is for both our bodies as mamas but also as for our babies, for us to continue with our pregnancy and allow it to go to full term, allow us to go into labor spontaneously. So much better for our babies. Going into labor spontaneously reduces the likelihood of our baby having respiratory issues, requiring a NICU stay, better breastfeeding rates. Our babies just transition that little bit smoother to extrauterine life. So, yeah, never mind a more positive birth experience. So, I'm very much there for that and feeling really frustrated. I feel like the hardest part for me of this whole pregnancy has been this part here, this little window of like, am I gonna have the baby today? I'm gonna have the baby tonight. I swear to goodness, I've been going to bed every single night in the expectation that I will be woken up with contractions and have a baby in my arms by the morning. And every morning I wake up and I'm like, what? I'm also, like, dare I say, uncomfortable. And I know this is like nothing in comparison to what other mamas have experienced, but like, I'm only a little person, so for me, this big old belly feels huge. I'm like just touching on 5 foot, so I'm not a very tall person anyway. I don't have much torso to carry these pregnancies in, and so while I have worked really hard to maintain my strength in this pregnancy, I'm really starting to feel it. So sleep has been a bit crap. I've been sleeping a handful of hours. I would say I'm woken like hourly by between needing to pee, having those contractions, and being still co-sleeping with the boys, so them waking them needing me during the night, or we're just looking to like nurse or cuddle or whatever. So my energy has been at an all-time low, and I've been feeling a lot of those feelings around that. And I guess if anything, I want you to take from this video that like it is so normal to have those feelings of just being like borderline fed up, but also just so excited to meet your baby, and that like loss of control being really difficult. I'm a pretty like, what I say, like easygoing person. I'm not like a type A person at all. I'm not like a control freak. I like to know, you know, what is happening during my day, though, during my week. I like to know what I can plan, how I can expect things to fall during the day and during any typical 24 hours. And so for me, both in running a business, but also in parenting the kids and in just knowing like what's going on, I found that so hard. And I know a lot of you also feel those same feelings. And I wanted to just give you like a a really honest update that this part has been the hardest for me. I am uncomfortable, I am tired, and I am excited to meet my baby, but also just really like leaning into that feeling of surrendering and trusting that my body is more clever than anything else. And this is the longest time I've ever been pregnant because this baby girl needs that little bit longer. So, long and waffly. I wrote some notes down because I did not think that I would remember all of the things. So here we are. One of the symptoms that I have been having, and this is kind of like leaning into everything else, is what I would call a very typical third trimester, end of pregnancy wobble, like a birth wobble. Birth wobble specifically, like, am I ready? How am I going to manage my surges? How is this going to change the dynamics of my family? Is my body capable of this? Do I have the energy? Am I strong enough? Am I brave enough? And I think all of those feelings are so normal and so valid. And I have actively been doing things to work through this wobble that I think would maybe be really helpful for some of you. So for those of you who don't know, I teach birth preparation classes. And so some of these tools and techniques that I've been pulling from those classes are things that I've been practicing now. So a lot of like mindset techniques, a lot of really like retraining and reprogramming my brain around birth, around my abilities, around the sensations of pain versus power. And I feel so much more positive now than I did or like at the start of this wobble. I shared a whole post detailing the wobble and what I've done on my Instagram. So if you're not already following me over there, I will leave the link to that down below, where I share more of my like daily life stuff anyhow. So you might be interested to know. But the birth wobble is real. I've also been doing a lot of just like soaking in the boys, and this like lull, although it's been really difficult, has also been so sweet because I've just been able to soak them in. And I swear to goodness, the boys have never been more delicious than they are now. Everything that they do, I'm just like doting over. Every wrong word that Archer says, I'm like writing down and like never want to forget it. Every time they do something new, every time they do something that's just like, yeah, I'm really soaking in this time as much as I can with them. And that's been really, really lovely. Pete has also been home. So for those of you who don't know, it's a solo income family over here, so it's just me. So anything you do to support my family is so I'm so grateful. But Pete is in college, so he's been off college the last little while and just minding the boys and hanging out with me and co-parenting with me, and it's just been really lovely. And so we've been really enjoying our time like as a couple, and that's been really nice. And then just soaking up the boys and just doing lovely family-centered activities. And I've been trying my best, while leaning into that surrendering, to just go, you know what? I'm just going to keep doing the normal things. So, for instance, this morning we met up with friends in the playground, and then we went for like a little wander, and then this afternoon we went for lunch with my mum. We went to our homeschool group yesterday. I'm actually meant to be attending one of my best friend's hens tomorrow, so I'm fully excited for that. If I'm still pregnant, there's going to be some belly dancing, which I'm very keen to try, and just have like lots of lovely chats and lots of lovely womanly energy, which I'd be sad to miss out on. So I feel like this is what this girl's waiting for. But I've just been doing my daily life as normal and just sticking like relatively close to home. So that's, I suppose, how I've been approaching the like, what if you go into labor at any moment sort of thing. So that's kind of my birth wobble as well. And yeah, I'll share the post on like some of the things that I've been doing, if you're curious. I have also been experiencing, and this is the first time that I've experienced this in any pregnancy, but carpal tunnel, which is where for me, it's been showing up as like numbness, fizzing and tingling in my hands. So it will actually wake me up. I will wake up and just be like, oh my gosh. So I've been doing some like lovely nerve flossing, really working on like opening up my chest a little bit. I've been continuing to drink my beetroot juice, which is really supportive for all of that. and my daily kind of like adrenal cocktails, which have really helped. But I notice if I miss a day. I also notice if my sleep has been bad, or I've been like particularly like curled up and like tight and carrying a lot of tension, that it will get even worse. So let me know if you want to see a whole video on in particular, the exercises that I've been doing to relieve the carpal tunnel, because I feel like that could be really helpful for some of you. The next thing is the sleep. So yeah, between the boys waking, the contractions, which I'm actually just having one now, I'm like, could I just have a baby like in the next hour? My impression of like my visualization, or when I think about how this birth is going to go down, I fully expect that I'm going to have like a really fast and furious labor, just judging by the changes and the progress that all of these contractions have been making. In my experience, those moments who've experienced this like on and off kind of prodromal labor is what we call it. They often then, once they go into active labor, it's just like go time. So I'm sort of expecting that too. But yes, sleep has been bad, peeing constantly. This baby is just like nudging my bladder almost all of the time. Archer has also started nursing like a newborn. For those of you who don't know, I'm still tandem feeding both of the boys. This is going to be like my first, my only tri-andem feeding experience. That is, if neither of them suddenly wean once this baby arrives. But since my colostrum came in, Archer has just been nursing like nuts. Atticus barely feeds anymore, but yeah, so that's been interesting. And I've definitely noticed an increase in those contractions when he nurses. And for Archer's birth, things went up a notch when I put Atticus to bed and nursed him to sleep. It was like I literally had to roll out of the bed and was like, whoa, I'm having a baby. So I'm fully expecting that this time too. I've been keeping driving to a minimum, like I said, kind of within a 10-kilometer radius. If I can, I will have people over here, or I will go somewhere closer, or have my husband drive me and then he'll just work from a local library and do that kind of thing. I've still been doing some movement every single day. Up until now, I've really been following sort of a body ready method, the program, which I'll leave the link to down below, which I love. But I've also been really enjoying just like getting a really decent sweat on. So I will do things like cut the grass, or we've got like a little stability bike downstairs, and I will just get onto that and just like watch a YouTube video for 20 minutes. And that's been really nice, both for like the mental headspace, but also just feels really good to sweat. So that's been really lovely. And then if I don't manage to get that little like nugget of exercise in, which has become really like I've always worked out. I've always moved my body. I've always honored my body in that way. And that's something that now is like a habit to me. But if there is a day where we have to leave really early, or I've got a particularly bad night's sleep where I know I need to just like rest up a little bit, there are some movements that I would say maybe like 6 or 7 movements, which I dare to call my like daily essentials, that I'm going to make a whole post on, possibly even a whole video on, sharing why I do them, how I do them, and some of the benefits. But essentially it's about keeping my body sort of supple, lubricated, keeping that pelvis sort of open, creating nice space and balance in my body for baby to move through. So a lot of them are actually body ready methods techniques, but not all of them. Some of them are my own. So let me know if you're curious about that one. I've also interestingly been having like cravings now. So my appetite has just been through the roof. I will wake up hungry, like I need something now. So I've been trying to, mind myself in having like a protein, fat heavy snack before I go to bed, normally Greek yogurt with some berries or something, maybe some homemade granola on top, which definitely helps for me to not wake up just like hangry. But I've also been having massive cravings for fruit. So it's perfect time of year. So I've been just like living on watermelon and peaches and berries and eating my entire body weight in them, which is so lovely. Yeah, that's the main stuff. I still have no swelling, still feeling really well. Baby is, I would say, like a decent size. I'm expecting like a 7-pounder at this point. Both of my boys were like 6 to 7 pounders. And I think the little girl's probably my biggest baby yet. She just feels, to me, it palpates like a bigger baby, but I'm not worried about it. Babies can mold, pelvises can change, mummies are stretchy, and I'm feeling much better. Like, I'm feeling, my best friend actually recently came up to stay for this week, sort of my due date window. Both, she was coming to the hen, but also to come and be around for my due window. And it's like, as soon as we were talking on the phone and she was like, hey, how would you feel about me coming up? I just went, oh. And so in knowing that she's going to be here, I'm excited instead of any of those previous feelings of nervousness. So that's been really lovely. I still have my lovely red band on from my blessing way. And for those of you who don't know, I might do a whole separate video on like why do a blessing way over a baby shower. But it's something that I've done for the last 2 pregnancies now, and it's just been so lovely to be held in that way. And yeah, I'm really excited. I'm so excited to meet this baby. I'm so excited to see what she looks like, to hold her, to smell her, to just snuggle up with her. We still haven't fully decided on a name, which is both nerve-wracking, and I'm trying to just not be stressed about it, because we had thought we had a name and now all of a sudden I'm having these last minute wobbles. I'm like, what if it doesn't suit her? And to be fair, none of the kids had names for the first 2 weeks. So it'll be fine. It's the smallest part of my worries, I feel like, at this point. But there's some really exciting things coming while I'm going to be taking some sort of like a maternity leave, essentially like a month, I think, if I can manage it to stretch it out that far. So keep your eyes peeled. And thank you so much for joining me for this little update. Hopefully the next time you see me, I'm going to have a baby in my arms. Talk to you soon.